Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to stop your dog from getting heat stroke. I'm going to be doing some experiments with thermometers and just going through some very simple facts with you that just help you to understand the danger. Right, so I'm just going to do my experiment. So this thermometer, my house is 20 degrees, it's 30 degrees outside, and I'm going to go and put this thermometer in the sun where my dogs always want to sunbathe, and I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to go back indoors. So remember, it's 30 degrees out here, but this is shown as 20 degrees because that's how cool my house is. We've got air conditioning. So you can see there, see how quickly that's going up. It's 30 degrees out here. So I'm going to go and leave that, and I'm going to come back in 5 minutes, and I'm going to see what temperature that is in the sun. Okay, so I haven't gone and looked at it. I went back inside for about 3 minutes. Let's go and see what temperature that is now. Is that moved into the shade? Do I need to do it again? Okay, I want to show you something now. So it's 31 degrees. Is that 31 or 37? Wow, that's 37 degrees. 39 is organ failure. 37 degrees, 39 is organ failure. Now, the shade kind of went over it a little bit. So I want to move that into the actual proper sun. Let's see what happens here. I'm not going to sit here in this heat, it's ridiculous. But it's properly in the sun now. So after a few minutes in the shade, so that actually shows you it was actually sitting in the shade. And it hit 37 degrees. Remember, 39 is organ failure. I'm going to leave it here for a couple of minutes and come back in a minute. Okay, so I've left that for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes. So just remember, when I put it in the shady bit, so you can see here on this shady bit. So in the shady bit, after 3 or 4 minutes, it went from 30 degrees to 37 degrees. In the sunny bit, let's have a look. 38.6. 39 degrees is organ failure. Look, I'm not lying to you, 38.6 degrees. Remember, 38 degrees is organ failure. So, in the shady bit there, 37 degrees, and then over in the sunny bit. And that is just going to soar. Look, 39 degrees, 0.7. That is just absolutely soaring. Goodness me, that's terrible. Okay, so if your dog's popping outside for a cheeky sunbathe, you just remember... Look at them in there. I've left them in there. They're not coming out here. If your dog pops outside for a cheeky little sunbathe, and it's 30 degrees outside, he could be sunbathing for 2 or 3 minutes out there, and he's going to hit 39 degrees. Remember, 39 degrees is organ failure. Right, what I'm going to do is, in the morning, I'm going to do this again when it's about 22 degrees. Just so you can see different temperatures, but also because I want to know how hot it gets up there at 22 degrees. Because at 22 degrees, I wouldn't be as hot, as on it as I am now. Certainly 30 degrees, they're not coming out and sunbathing. But 22 degrees, I probably wouldn't be quite so sharp on it if I saw them doing it. So I'm going to do it in the morning at 22 degrees, and we'll see how that goes. Good morning, it's the next day. It's 20 degrees at the moment out here. It's 9 o'clock in the morning and 20 degrees. So I'm just going to pop my... I'm just going to pop my... So you can see there, look, it says 21. Well, that's shooting up already. So it was 20 when I brought it out. It's 20 degrees out here. So I'm just going to plonk that on the sofa. So you can see here. So this is our patio. Then we just have this furniture that we sit on outside. So this morning the sun is on this bit of the patio. So yesterday when I did it, I went up those steps and the sun was up there. So the sun's on this bit of the patio now. And I just want to see how quickly that shoots up. I mean, you can see it is going up. 22.2. So obviously it's not going to shoot up, excuse me, like it did yesterday. You saw how quickly that got up to 30. What did it get up to? Was it 37? Very, very quickly. I think it took about 2 minutes to get from 30 to 37. So that was quite shocking to me. And I can see here that is just shooting up. Right, so I'm going to leave that just for a couple of minutes, not many minutes at all, a couple of minutes, and I'll come back in a minute. Right, let's go and see. I have literally walked into my sitting room, written something down and walked back. So maybe a minute, not even that. And look, that is 28.7. I'm just thinking in which order this video will be recorded, but the vet and it's all across, it's just a well-known fact that at 27 degrees a dog starts to get very uncomfortable. So that very quickly has gone up to 28.7. Wow, that's just jumped to 29.5 just like that. It was 28 points. You can't see that, can you? Hang on, let me. There we go. Look, can you? 29.5, just like that. So if I just leave that there, my husband actually told me not to leave it, not to just leave it before he went to work. He said, don't just leave that out there because the batteries could explode. So I can't just leave it out here. But my point is, in a couple of minutes, it shot right up to 29.5. So that would well be in the temperature for a dog to be very uncomfortable in heat. Now that could be that your dog is wanting to sunbathe, because they do, or and please don't ever do this, it could be that you put your dog outside and there's no shade. And the thing about this is, the problem with this is that, let's go back indoors now. The problem with this is that it's 20 degrees out there and it really does not feel too bad. So, you know, it's early in the morning, looks like a nice sunny day, it doesn't seem too bad. I mean, it does feel warm, but it doesn't seem too bad. But, you know, you could easily let your dog out there 20 degrees and not think much of it, and yet you've just seen for yourself, look, now it's 30 degrees. So that went from 20 to 30 in a minute or two. So, you know, there's the facts. Right, so I don't know about you, but you know, that is just shocking, isn't it? You know, it's shocking to see how quickly it gets hot outside. And so you see that don't just let your dogs go out and have a sunbathe. It's really dangerous. Very quickly, it's very dangerous. Something you always need to remember is a dog's core temperature will be higher than the temperature that they're in. So when it hit 30 degrees outside just now really quickly, your dog's core temperature is hotter than that. So they will always be hotter than the temperature they're in. Now, I've looked on the internet, this is not just me talking, this is scientists and it's vets. And they say that a dog really starts to suffer if it's 27 degrees outside. So 27 degrees is 81 Fahrenheit. And a dog will really start to suffer at 27 degrees or 81 Fahrenheit. So don't let your dogs be in situations of 27 degrees, 81 Fahrenheit. And that can be outside, but it could also be inside. If your house is hotter than 27 degrees, your dog is starting to suffer. The other fact is that whatever temperature it is outside, the car will be 43 degrees higher than that. So, you know, in my mind, don't ever leave a dog in a car. Not even in the winter, because even in the winter, if the sun is shining on it, the car will be 43 degrees higher than it is outside. I just don't understand why people ever would leave a dog in a car. It's absolutely not worth the risk. If you need to go somewhere and you need to leave your dog in the car, don't take the dog, leave them at home. It's absolutely not worth the risk of killing them. And I think so many people don't take heat stroke seriously, and it's very much a case of it won't happen to us. Dogs die all the time of heat stroke. And do you know 3/4 of dogs die of heat stroke when they're out on their walk? You imagine if you're walking your dog and he just drops dead of heat stroke. Imagine that. It's not worth it. And the thing is, I always think about this, is people are walking their dogs, they clearly love their dog, they're clearly doing a good thing, but they're just not thinking it through. And so absolutely do. Now, let me just point out something else. This business of the 27 degrees, yeah, dogs should start to get really uncomfortable and suffer at 27 degrees. If they're exercising, they're going to get an awful lot hotter, an awful lot quicker. So I have a rule. I don't exercise my dogs hotter than 18 degrees. I find at 17, 18 degrees, they can go for a walk, they can slowly, we can sit under the shade of a tree, we could just wander back, and it's no big deal. But 27 degrees, you do not want to be exercising a dog, because that is way too hot, and that is when organ failure and death will kick in. So personally for me, I don't go anything above 18. If it's above 18, I don't take my dogs out. And that's the other thing. If it's hot, don't be fit, especially if you're a new dog owner. You might be like, yeah, but I have to walk my dog every day. No, you don't. If it's hot, don't walk your dog. There's no shame in that. Don't walk them. There's stuff you can do with them indoors, or even if you don't do anything with them indoors, it's still better than taking them out on a walk where they are suffering. And this is the other thing, is just because your dog doesn't drop dead on the walk doesn't mean that they didn't suffer terribly. So there's no shame in not walking your dog. Now the other places that get as hot as cars is caravans, conservatories, easily get as hot as cars, and outbuildings. So if you leave your dog out in a kennel or a shed or anything like that, I'm massively against that. You shouldn't be doing that. But if you are, you've got to be aware that it's going to be extremely hot out there for them. So cars, caravans, outbuildings and conservatories will be 43 degrees higher than the temperature that it is outside. So just dangerous. Don't do it. It's been proven that just opening your window a little bit or putting the car in the shade makes absolutely no difference at all. Another place where dogs regularly die of heat exhaustion is at groomers when they put them under the hairdryer. Humidity. Now, it's just because the sun's not shining, dogs are really badly affected by humidity. So be aware, it might not be sunny, but if it's humid, that can easily get them up to the point of having organ failure. If they muzzle, they're not able to pant properly, that can cause organ failure and death. If they have an illness that involves muscle spasms, that can overheat them and it can cause organ failure and death. And obviously sunbathing, like I just said, like I've just showed, don't let dogs go out and sunbathe. Not even for a minute or two. You've seen what happens. Don't do it, it's not worth it. It happens incredibly quickly, heat stroke, and it, like I said, it can result in death. It's just not worth it. Don't compare how you feel and think that your dog's going to feel the same as that. Their body temperature is 5 degrees higher than our body temperature. They've got a fur coat on, and most importantly, they cannot cool down quickly if they need to. They can't do it. So please don't think, well, I'm okay out here. Like I said, when I recorded the video outside this morning of it being 20 degrees, it was perfectly pleasant. I was pottering about out there, it's perfectly pleasant. But you saw how quickly that got to 30 degrees, and for dog sunbathing, that's dangerous. So what I would have done is, when the dogs were out there with me this morning, but they were in the shade, what I would have done is I would have let them maybe sit in the shade just for a little while, just while I was feeding the birds and pottering about. But then we would have been straight back in. But there's absolutely nowhere on this earth they will be sunbathing in 20 degrees. People, I don't think, well, they're not, I know they're not, are not getting how serious this is, and then they're absolutely devastated when their dog dies of heat stroke. I'm going to do a whole different video on what to do if your dog has heat stroke. It's too important to put into this video. I want to put it into a different video. Obviously, you get your dog to the vet sharpish, but unfortunately, in the time you've got your dog to the vets, he could die. So you do need to do stuff straight away to get him cool and be doing that stuff on the way to the vet. But I'm going to put a video up about that. If you're watching this video today and your dog has heat stroke, get onto Google and find out what you do. Don't, obviously you're not going to wait for me, but just get onto Google, it's all there. So it's a very serious subject, and something I will say is I'm in the UK and we are not used to really hot summers. So at the moment hitting 30 degrees is becoming the norm. And I do think that, bit by bit we are slowly getting more used to it. I used to find 26 really hot, now it's hitting 36. I think we are slowly getting more and more used to it. And it may well be that if you live in a really hot country, and I'd really, really appreciate it if you'd contact me about this. If you live in a really hot country where it's always, I don't know, above 40 or something, I don't know, and your dog is just more used to the temperature, can you tell me? Because I'm talking about the UK here, America has very similar weather to us, Europe sort of similar weather to us. And so there, I absolutely think it applies. Anything above 27 is too hot for a dog. But remember, that's not exercising in 27. That is just being in 27. So sitting in a room that's 27 degrees, stuff like that. But if you're in countries where it's regularly an awful lot more hotter than that, can you please contact me? Because I need to know what the advice is for your country. Because obviously I can only see the advice for my country. I'd like to know what the advice is for your country and your situation on this. And don't be thinking, well, yeah, I know, but my dog sits out in the garden sunbathing in 30 degrees and he's not dead. he's not dead yet. I'll just leave it there. So thank you very much for watching this video. You know, it's a sad subject, but and the thing that sparked me with this was I got contacted again yesterday about another dog that had died in a car, and it just, you know, it breaks my heart because not only did a dog die, but a dog died the most horrific death, and that's just awful. Something I will just point out is, if you see a dog in a car on a hot day, or even if it's a cold day but the sun's shining and the dog is panting or whatever in the car, you call 999 and you get the police out immediately. Now, my advice is, stuff 999, you get the hell in that car and you get the dog out. And it's probably illegal on a few different reasons, but I'll deal with that in court. If I see a dog, I've seen many dogs in cars, and I've called the police and they've like been able to come quickly, really quickly. But the dog wasn't at a point where it was like really, it wasn't like, I don't think it was that hot in the car. And the police have come quickly, smashed the window and got them out. If I ever see a dog in a car that is suffering, you need to know that I am getting in that car one way or another and I'm getting that dog out. I'm not waiting for the police to arrive, because that could be too late. But my advice, let me just tell you this again. The RSPCA tell us that without hesitation you call 999. Without hesitation. So, you know, that's what you've got to do. And another thing I want to point out is, whilst it might not actually technically be illegal to leave a dog in a car, under the Animal Welfare Act of 2006, it is illegal to cause your dog suffering, whether you did it on purpose or not. You will end up in court, you will end up with a massive fine, and you could end up in prison. So don't be thinking it's not illegal to leave your dog in a car, because it is, and they will get you for it. And if you accidentally, I don't know if that's the right word, but if you leave your dog in the car and he dies of heat stroke, you are going to prison. Apart from the fact that you've just killed your dog, you're going to prison. So please, will you take this as seriously as I do, please. Thank you very much for watching. I promise the next video will be a bit nicer, but I have to be this harsh about this because people aren't listening. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.